happening now. Blue Jays general manager Ross Atkins is speaking to the media now that the offseason is underway. Let's listen in.
Wins, was very exciting to see, and seemingly connected with our fan base in a way that was powerful and something that we really appreciate. That support from the fan base was incredible. We talk about it all the time as we travel and see the impact of this nation impacting the Toronto Blue Jays, but to see it in a very deep playoff run was remarkable and something that we are very grateful for.
All right, we'll get into Q&A. We'll start here with Ben.
Hey, Ross. As the season wore on, or as the postseason wore on, Schneider sometimes mentioned once you guys, hear what George was playing through, you'll really, raise some eyebrows. Now that the season is over, are you able to share some insight into what George was playing through?
I mean, I think you guys had the bulk of it. I mean, that was, significant. You could see him grimacing through that, and I don't know how he does it. I really don't. It goes back to our first year with him when he had an oblique and it was clear in the MRI we could see something, but his physical exam wasn't presenting in a way that suggested he was injured. And I think it just speaks to his strength and toughness.
So was it an oblique tear?
No, was not a tear. There was, as it was reported, there was significant inflammation. The MRI wasn't showing an injury. Everything, it's about the total presentation and how they present in a physical exam and then what the MRI reads. But his toughness he was able to overcome it.
Go ahead, Keeks.
Ross, coming off the success this year in the postseason, in which ways do you expect that to benefit you this winter, whether it be with perception of this team or financial?
You're speaking of financial, meaning support?
Supports, or how the team's viewed around the league, how you think that this run can help you in the offseason? Yeah,
I mean, it's such an interesting thing. There's always been, since the day that I got here, that I don't want to position something too strongly, but suggestions around the difficulty of getting free agents to come here. And I think the industry, the league, the players know how attractive Toronto is, how attractive this nation is, and how attractive the organization is to play for. So it just always depends on the individual. There are players that don't want to play in California. There are players that don't want to play in Florida. There are players that want to be in an Arizona spring training. There's players that are much more attracted to Toronto. So we feel that every year we try to get better, and as we improve, we hope to become more attractive.
And then before we get to the roster stuff, could you update us on John Schneider and if there's been a change in his contract going forward?
Yeah, we have picked up the option. That was picked up previously, and he and I are talking about the potential of that being longer. I mean, Schneid's has been unbelievable. He is, a clear leader in this organization. Really, really good at his job, and very proud to be working with him.
Ross, you obviously had a special group this year, and you could probably go down and point a list of like 10, 15 players who kind of had career years. How do you go about balancing trying to improve your roster, maybe accounting for some regression in certain areas, versus also trying to reward the guys who kind of got you to this point this season?
Well, there's a process in place for that, depending on where guys are in their career, and we will certainly be respectful of how we reward that. And as it relates to repeating it, it's what I said at the start, very proud of the work that behind the scenes that goes into putting guys into positions to be as successful as they can be. And, a lot of credit to John Schneider and their staff to allowing individuals as a group to realize potential that is very special. And I do think that cohesiveness allowed for a style of play that allowed for that team approach to benefit individuals. And we feel that that's something that's sustainable, not easy to do, and it's something that you're constantly managing. And it's not just as simple as, we know we have to also acquire talent again and acquire different players to come into the fold. So.
And then with Bieber, I'm sure you guys were very happy to hear the news that he accepted the player option, is coming back. That appears to only leave you with one spot left in the starting rotation. You've got some pending free agents with Bassett and Scherzer. You've got Eric Lauer under control. How do you look at that final spot in the rotation when they're kind of like you're balancing, maybe looking elsewhere, but also looking at the guys that were already here and there's only so many spots?
It's a very well thought out question that you gave some time to, and we're doing the same right now. We have been working on that for some time, and we'll continue to do it. And I'd rather answer that for you after we've completed that work. But do feel good about the free agent market and the starting pitching area relative to most years. It's a little bit better seemingly, and we'll get to work on the trade front as well. Have started that somewhat, but we'll have a little bit better answer for you in the coming weeks.
Go ahead, David.
Hey, Ross, further to the Bieber question, the industry saw that as a surprise that he chose to do that. And can you let us know what went into those conversations?
I mean, the conversations are pretty straightforward for us. It was the decision to stay here, which is a positive outcome for us. Shane was more than we could have possibly hoped for, and on a deep stretch coming off of that procedure was really remarkable what he accomplished. But speaking to his decision, I don't want to do, but we're very glad he made it.
Okay, and what's the status of Jose Berrios, and do you see him ready for spring training?
Status is good. Yeah, he's in a good position physically. He should have a completely normal offseason and be ready for spring training.
Okay, we'll go to Jonah.
Ross, I'm just curious what the last few days have been like for you emotionally. Are you still grieving like many Blue Jays fans are, or have you been able to turn the page relatively quickly?
Well, I mean, like I said from the beginning, it wasn't the last out that we had envisioned. And I try to, as I feel the sting of that hangover that is lasting and still there, I just try to reflect on the good and think about the positive, because there was plenty of it.
Is that a sting that you imagine will endure for, maybe the rest of your career, or is it something that with enough kind of time and space and potentially future success can go away completely?
It's an interesting question. I can't imagine ever not having the vision of that last out and thinking about all of the success that got to that point. I think those are pretty cemented into my, just as I reflect on my career, probably will be pretty strongly cemented in there, but just with so much positivity and pride around it.
Go to Griff.
Ross, has there been any ongoing discussion with Bieber about a multi-year deal? Because if not, then when's the last time somebody took less than market value to stay here?
Not going to talk about ongoing negotiations or discussions around that. And the last time someone takes below market, I mean, I don't have a catalog of them, but they happen. It happens. Players like playing here, and happens across the industry where a perceived market value and what a player takes. It's just a complicated decision.
This organization values run prevention more than most organizations. That being said, you seem to have a better defense with Jimenez at short and Bo at second. Does that come into any look ahead to discussions with Bo?
We'll see. I mean, I think the great thing about our current alignment is we have flexibility beyond how it impacts Bo or how it impacts Hemi. We have multiple players that can play multiple positions, and that's a good starting point.
One last is, do you think that this World Series and the viewership and the impact in Pacific Rim and Asia is going to help you recruit over there?
That's hard to say. I think it's an attractive destination for the Pac Rim, and just happens to be 6 hours further. And I think that's maybe not quite as heavily populated as the West Coast of the United States. So, but I don't think it's going to hurt.
Go ahead, Shai.
Hey, Ross. As the playoffs were playing out, and you guys were obviously the focus of the baseball world, what are you hoping other players noticed about your club, your organization during that time? What do you hope what their takeaways from what they saw were?
Yeah, the cohesiveness, really, and that that starts with Schneid's and his leadership, and then our key players. So some of them have been here for a long time, and some have come and gone that haven't had an impact on that. And I feel strongly that impact goes all the way back to players before I was here, and that impacted Jose and Josh Donaldson, who then impacted Bo and Vladdy, and then Marcus Simeon and Matt Chapman coming into the fold, impacting them, and Ryu, and then Springer, now Gossman, and now the team that we have. So hopefully that just continues to happen, that we're learning from one another and getting better every day, and that long-winded answer getting longer, but that cohesiveness and the collective effort for players to play for one another is unique, and I feel something that our team saw the power of being here, and hopefully others appreciate it.
And previous off seasons, the areas of opportunity in the roster were pretty clear. You mentioned a little bit different answers here about some of the flexibilities you have. Like, where do you see the clear needs, areas of opportunity, areas to address, places where this roster can get better specifically?
Yeah, still all the things that I said to Gregor. So, the Shane Bieber's decision helps get us off into started in an area where we do have several subtractions.
Go to Mitch.
Hey, Ross. I'm just wondering, is there any players who will need off-season procedures?
Who will need
Off-season procedures?
Yeah, no, not as we sit here today.
And do you expect, we've heard about Donnie, but do you expect any changes on the coaching staff at all?
Well, we'll just try to get better, but no proactive subtractions or significant changes in roles, but we'll try to get better in any way that we can, and that is the first opportunity that we'll have to improve our organization. Not necessarily get better than Donnie, but now we'll have to work to fill that void.
So you will have a bench coach spot to fill?
We'll see. We're going to work through the best way to align our staff.
Go to Rob.
Hey, Ross, you've certainly been involved with Vlad's development throughout his pro career. How impactful was what he did in October?
Yeah, really. It was, how do I say, really impactful in a really significant way. It was incredible to watch the athleticism on every aspect of the game. The at-bats kind of spoke for themselves. He was just an absolute force offensively and a game changer as a defender. I can't imagine he could have made a bigger impact. I really can't.
Go to Rosie.
Hey, Ross. Once you catch your breath, what do you consider job one that you have to apply your mind to, and mine too as well? And would that, I'll answer the question for you, would that possibly be Bo? And he has mentioned on several occasions that he's never been approached throughout the season by you guys to just open discussions, and I was wondering, it probably worked out the best for him, but why was that?
The Bo has already had a massive impact on this organization and our ability to win baseball games and on the fan base. really incredible, his performance, to think about what he accomplished in the playoffs on, don't want to exaggerate, but, certainly not at 100%. And, not having full strength, not being at 100% of agility and mobility, and to still have that level of impact offensively and to make the plays he made defensively speaks to the competitor and the athlete that he is. And not just the competitor and athlete, but also when the lights were brighter, how that influenced and impacted him and how well he navigated that. So he's been important. We will be in his market. And as it speaks to the timing of the negotiation or lack thereof, really is coming from our respect from his right to get to free agency and having pretty much already earned that.
Back to Mike.
Hey Ross, you've mentioned the free agent market and trade market coming up this offseason. I was wondering philosophically what your thoughts are about running it back. I mean, we had so many players in there say they would love to play with this group forever, and they, change is inevitable, but major change isn't necessarily inevitable. We all remember the 92 and 93 Jays had like 12 different players, team to team. What are your thoughts about bringing most of the same group back, seeing what happens?
Yeah, I mean, it's you open to that as an outcome. You have to constantly be thinking about getting better, and that is one way to think about carrying on what has already occurred and improving upon what was good. But you just have to be open to other ways to doing it.
But philosophically, I mean, do you think it can work to run it back, or do you think there needs to be change to improve?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put myself in a box to say that there has to be change to improve. I believe in human beings. I believe in the power of development, improvement, and the power of cohesion.
And just a couple of questions for clarity from what you said. With the coaching staff, is everyone invited back at this point?
Yes.
And Lauer, at least when I spoke to him, seemed to be confused about his status and service time and whatever. Is he still absolutely under control for you?
Yeah, he has another year under contract with the Blue Jays.
Take our last one here from Gregor.
Ross, we asked Mark about a contract extension for him. We've asked you about a potential contract for Schneider. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you have 1 year left on your deal. Have you had any talks about an extension for yourself with Mark? And if not, do you plan on them opening that dialogue with you in the near future?
I'm not going to talk about my contract. Great place to work, incredible people to work for, incredible experience. I have nothing but positive things to say about this market, this city, country, and organization. I could not be more grateful.
And then looking at next year's roster, is Jeff Hoffman your closer for next year, or is that an area you guys could look to address this offseason?
The great thing about Jeff is he's not married to that. He is me talking about that cohesion and that team approach. He epitomizes it. I think he would be open to anything that makes us better.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
We're listening to an end-of-season press conference with Blue Jays General Manager Ross Atkins is speaking to the media now that the offseason is underway, taking lots of questions from reporters